I'm a musician of sorts, and on my way to give a very special performance, and would be most honored if you could join me.
I don't think so.
I promise you it'll be like nothing you've ever seen, and afterwards you'll return home safely.
All right. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Artists use lies to tell the truth, while politicians use them to cover the truth up.
Come on, boys. Want to see something? Huh? That pretty? You like that? What's your name?
Danique.
Danique? That's a pretty name, Danique. You want to be good to me, sugar?
Hey, mister! Leave him alone!
I wouldn't hurt your friend. Would I? You don't need to be afraid. Danique? You're pretty. How old are you?
10.
10?
I said leave him alone! Let me down!
Son of a bitch!
Let me down!
Veri, veniversum, vivus, vici.
By the power of truth, I, while living, have conquered the universe.
Personal motto.
From Faust.
That's about trying to cheat the devil, isn't it?
It is. And speaking of the devil, I was wondering if your offer to help was still standing.
Of course.
It appears that unforeseen circumstances have accelerated my original plan. As a result, I'm in need of someone with some theatrical skill.
I'll do my best.
I believe you will.
Another doctor? Why does a detention facility need so many doctors?
I don't know, but this is interesting. The highest paid person at the camp was a priest.
Really?
Yeah, Father Lilliman.
Lilliman?
He's paid almost 200 grand a month.
No, that is interesting. Looks like he was promoted. He's a bishop now.
Your Grace. Oh, Dennis. Has everything been arranged?
Yes, I've just received your interlink itinerary, and you should arrive in Perth in time for Mass.
You're most diligent, Dennis. A noble example for all those who labour in the name of our Lord. But,
Your Grace?
Well, it wasn't labour that I was speaking of. It was rather my final remittance that I was interested in. My last little joy.
I'm sorry, Your Grace. She has arrived, but there was some confusion at the agency, and they've sent a new girl who I'm afraid is a little older than usual.
Older? Oh dear, she's not too old, I trust.
That is for Your Grace to decide.
Oh my.
Your Grace.
To think that I doubted your loveliness for an instant. Mea culpa, my child. Mea culpa.
How does satanic ritual abuse play into all of these prominent people being involved in this stuff?
If you go back 225 or 30 years ago, you have what we call the Illuminati that was established in 1776. And the goals of the Illuminati, this is all very well documented, are to take over the world. One of the best ways of taking over the world is to control people's minds and to take over a country through the control of the minds. So what's happening in America, and based on my research and my interviews with numerous individuals, is that the powers that be, the higher-ups, the people in the Illuminati are using the satanic cults as a means and as a tool to condition individuals and to make them victims of the mind control, MK Ultra mind control program. There's probably close to 4 million practicing Satanists in the United States alone based on my intelligence information.
America. So today I thought I'd talk about the Pizzagate scandal. No, not the 2004 Premier League Pizzagate, but the 2016 Pizzagate conspiracy theory, involving child sex rings, Hillary Clinton, a crazed gunman, 4chan, satanic rituals, the world shadow government. God damn, what the hell is this thing? Well, let's find out. I was mostly interested in doing a video on this because at the time of the Pizzagate shooting, I had no idea that this conspiracy even existed. And all I would hear from the media was, oh, it's just a dumb internet alt-right conspiracy theory that says there's a child sex ring in the basement of a pizza shop. Isn't that just the dumbest thing? And yeah, that does sound pretty damn ridiculous, but not once did I ever hear from the media the whole story. How did this conspiracy even come to being? How do you manage to create a conspiracy theory so big that it results in some guy going to do his own investigation and shoot up a pizza joint? Well, that's what I'm here to discuss today. It's a little complicated, but I'll try to get through this. This all started back in early 2016 when Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign manager John Podesta had his personal Gmail account phished. Apparently, John Podesta was stupid enough to trust an email with a link telling him to enter his Gmail login information for a Google security alert. I gotta admit, I'm really paranoid about this stuff. And at the time of this hack in 2016, if an email pops up in my inbox and tells me to click here to change my password because it's that time of the year again, the last thing I would do is go straight through the link to change my information. If anything, what you should do is go straight through the website, not some sketchy link that may or may not be trustworthy. Poor Johnny. So after John Podesta's account was breached, the hackers thoroughly stripped the entire system of all his emails. This allowed the hackers to gain access to all sorts of juicy information, containing insider information amongst many high-ranking DNC officials. And then some. And on October 6th, 2016, the leaking begins. Over 20,000 pages of emails were released from the months of October and November 2016 through WikiLeaks. Overall, the emails basically revealed the Democrat Party leaders to be extremely corrupt and colluding douchebags who intentionally screwed over Bernie Sanders' campaign, and shows that the DNC is basically in bed with the mainstream media. But there was also something else going on in these emails. And here's where the conspiracy is born. For some odd reason, many of the emails obtained from John Podesta had a lot of weird and vague references to pizza, some references weirder than others. And it's not just ordering pizza that we're talking about here. And this is where the fun begins. Enter 4chan, home of the world's best shitposting investigative journalists. Now, a lot of people don't know what 4chan is, even people my age. But 4chan is essentially just a message forum website. You go to 4chan, start a thread, or join a thread, and chat away with people. Got a funny meme you want to post? Sure, go ahead. Got a new Pepe piece you want to show off? Go for it. Or you can huddle around the filthiest and funniest place on 4chan and start a conspiracy theory in the politically incorrect message board. So the basic internet consensus is that the first post on 4chan to really kick off the Pizzagate conspiracy came on November 3rd with this anonymous post here. And if you're going to start a conspiracy theory, this is one of the best ways to do it. We start with this link to Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire financier and convicted pedophile. But not only is he a convicted pedophile, this man has hundreds of allegations claiming that he traffics thousands of underage girls to politicians, foreign presidents, wealthy business executives, and tons of world leaders. This man is said to run a place called Orgy Island out in the Caribbean somewhere, where he runs a massive sex ring. Now, why is this guy relevant? Well, because according to Virginia Robert, who claims to have been one of Epstein's sex slaves, Bill Clinton, alleged rapist and pervert, has been well known to be seen around this supposed Orgy Island, and is reported to have flown on Epstein's private airplane, the Lolita Express, at least 11 times. This airplane, of course, being filled with tons of underage girls and other sex slaves, is said to have flown all over the world, and in particular Asia. I'll get back to that in a second. But Epstein, being a Democrat supporter, is obviously buddy-buddy with Bill here. Now, what makes this even more suspicious, especially right now, is that Epstein is also said to have flown both Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey on this Lolita Express. Kevin Spacey, the man who is now coming out as a serial pedophile and rabid pervert. And this report was made way before any of this recent Spacey news ever broke out, and was said to have occurred back in 2002. But another alleged passenger of the Lolita Express is Stephen Bing, businessman, film producer, and, this is gonna be a theme here, someone who can't keep it in his pants around women, and has gotten into trouble for that. Now, why is he important? While through this connection with Jeffrey Epstein and the Lolita Express, Steve Bing is said to have built a very good relationship with Bill Clinton and is well known to have donated millions of dollars to the Democrat Party and both Clinton's presidential campaigns. In fact, his relationship with Bill Clinton is so good that Steve Bing decided to loan him his private 737 in 2009 so he could fly over to North Korea and pick up 2 kidnapped female American reporters. Now, why is this important? Well, because the 2 reporters who were kidnapped in North Korea were allegedly reporting on human trafficking, and according to various reports, the North Koreans only wanted to speak to Bill Clinton on the issue of the 2 reporters. Why Bill Clinton? Well, if you remember from before, Jeffrey Epstein has supposedly made hundreds of flights around Asia. Was he possibly setting up an Asian chapter of his underground sex ring, of which Bill Clinton may have been a part of, and would therefore be a missionary for such matters for Kim Jong-il? And all of the reports surrounding this secret negotiation between Bill and Kimmy describe the conversations as covering a wide-ranging exchange of views on the matter of common concern. Kimmy even threw a giant dinner in honor of Clinton. Well, it sounds like these guys are best buddies too. Were they possibly talking about their shared common interest in running underground sex rings? North Korea is well known for its human trafficking. Are North Koreans also lifetime members of Orgy Island? So now how does this all connect back to John Podesta and the leaked DNC emails? Well, check this out. One of John Podesta's leaked emails contained this message right here. As John said, it doesn't get any better than this, along with this photo attachment. You know who these 2 people are? These are the 2 rescued reporters from North Korea. And what else is in the photo? A little child and pizza. Oh my god. Even the name of the image is titled pizza.jpg. Now what the hell is so important about the pizza? Well, amongst many pedophiles, the word pizza is code for child pornography or underage sex. This is a real thing that pedophiles actually do. The abbreviation for cheese pizza, CP, is also used as code for child pornography. I couldn't believe it when I first heard about it, and I tried to look up all sorts of information about it. As far as I know, this seems to relate back to host Chris Hansen from the show To Catch a Predator, in which many of the predators arrive at an underage girl's house and bring them a box of pizza.
So you brought pizza?
Yeah, the supreme with pineapple.
Oh yes, that's my favorite.
The underlying intention being that they'll get some underage sex. It seems to happen this way a lot with pedophiles. Even the Urban Dictionary definition for cheese pizza relates it back to Chris Hansen and his show.
Case in point, Jeff Sokol. Unfortunately for him, this pizza-chomping suspect is about to get a bad case of indigestion, courtesy of yours truly. He's so relaxed and convinced of his innocence, he eats a slice of pizza.
Who are you? To come here.
Are you her dad?
To meet a young girl.
Are you her dad?
I will get to that in a minute. Go ahead, have a bite.
Love to feel how warm I can make you all over.
And please, if you let me go, I swear you can have the pizza, whatever I brought down.
Oh, you're going to give me the pizza?
No.
What a pal you are.
No.
Pizza. Why are you delivering pizza to little minors?
Because she ordered it.
And this is from 2010, so this seems to be a hardwired code for pedophiles and their child victims. Pizza.
And what is this?
It's hot and ready.
Hot and ready? You think Keith was hot and ready?
Sorry? What?
So
you're harassing little girls over the phone?
Said she wanted a large sausage pizza.
Which, bringing it back around, makes this image far more suspect than it might seem to the uninformed viewer. It doesn't get any better than what, John? Child porn? Looking deeper into the Podesta emails, we start seeing some really weird pizza-related emails, like this one here. The realtor found a handkerchief, and I think it has a map that seems pizza-related. Is it yours? They can send it if you want. I know you're busy, so feel free not to respond if it's not yours, or if you don't want it. Huh? A handkerchief that has a map that seems pizza-related. What the hell does that even mean? Does this map lead to some child that John Podesta is keeping locked up? What is it? And here's another one from John Podesta. I think you should give notice when changing strategies that have been long in place. I immediately realized something was different by the shape of the box, and I contemplated who would be sending me something in the square-shaped box. Lo and behold, instead of pasta and wonderful sauces, it was a lovely, tempting assortment of cheeses. Yummy. I am waiting for the return of my children and grandchildren from their holiday travel so that we can demolish them. Thank you so much. I hope you and your gang are well. P.S. Do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese pizza than on pasta? What the hell? Just what sorts of temptatious assortments of cheese are you getting from this square-shaped box, huh? And are you waiting for your children to come back so you can demolish the cheese pizza? Or demolish each other? Playing dominoes on the cheese? What? As for dinner, I'm not particularly fussy about the type of pizza I enjoy, just as long as there's no hair on it. I hate hair on my pizza. What? You like hairless children, you sick freak? And here's another weird email, though this time instead of cheese pizzas, we get Beanie Babies. More code? My parents are visiting this weekend, and I need to sell my enormous collection of Beanie Babies. I have approximately 480 little creatures of joy, and I'm selling each for 20 bucks. They are very respectful and amicable with one another, and they are, for the most part, cat and dog friendly. Some are sassier than others, naturally. Please let me know. My parents can't find out. If this isn't code for selling kids, I don't know what the hell is. There are so many personified characteristics to these supposed Beanie Babies that it's way too conspicuous not to be talking about children. Even these Redditors here were coming up with possible double meanings behind this email. My parents can't find out. Code for sure. Amicable might mean drugged, sassy might be undrugged. Parents can't find out equals for your eyes only? If these sick fucks are trafficking children, I'm calling for public hanging. Cheese pizza equals CP, which equals child porn. That is fucked up. Yeah, if this child trafficking shit is real, then we can't just drain the swamp, we need to napalm the fuck out of it. And this is just a small fraction of the Redditors and 4chan posters digging into this. And things mostly stay pizza related in the emails until we get to the next forwarded email from John Podesta's brother, Tony Podesta. Dear Tony, I am so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you'll be able to let me know if your brother is joining? Spirit cooking? What the hell is that? And who's this Marina chick? Well, get this. Marina Abramovic is a self-proclaimed satanic performance artist who... Oh god! Jesus Christ, what the hell is this? Oh! Oh! Well, according to Marina, this is what you call spirit cooking. It doesn't get any more satanic than this, folks. There's even a recipe book on spirit cooking. And look at some of these ingredients. Mix fresh breast milk with fresh sperm milk. Drink on earthquake nights? Huh? Fresh morning urine, sprinkle over nightmare dreams. What? This is what the Podesta brothers are doing? This is the dinner that John is getting invited to? And what the hell is this thing? Is this supposed to be a child? Are they sacrificing children as part of the spirit cooking? So now John Podesta might really be demolishing the temptatious assortments of cheeses through satanic sacrifice. And look at this other email sent by John Podesta to his doctor. It says that he's got a cut on one of his fingers that seems to be getting infected. Well, you know what one of the recipes in spirit cooking is? With a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand. Eat the pain. Holy crap! Is this injury on John Podesta's finger from participating in a satanic ritual? And look at this other message to his doctor. It says, Mary said you might be able to see me early Monday. That would be great if it works for you. Mary, huh? Well, back to the original spirit cooking email. Tony Podesta also refers to Marina as Mary. Is this the same Mary? Is this doctor also connected to Marina's spirit cooking rituals? And some of you might be saying, well, look at this. It's just some weird performance art. What's the big idea? Well, according to Marina herself, if you are doing the occult magic in the context of an art gallery, then it is art. If you are doing it in a different context, in spiritual circles or private houses, it is not art. Well, this supposed dinner is set to take place at Marina's place. In her own private home? Well, according to her, it's no longer art, but the real deal. If this is no longer art, but the real thing, then what in the hell are they eating exactly? Just look at these recipes. And it's not like this woman is just an outsider rando that Tony Podesta hangs out with. She's been invited to a number of Hillary's campaign events. And not only that, Hillary Clinton has placed many of Marina's art pieces in US embassies all over the world. And not only that, Hillary herself has also supposedly had meetings with Marina, possibly for a spirit cooking lunch? So here we have our satanic connection, which may also possibly involve children. But the pizza, what is it about the pizza? We're almost there, folks, don't worry. Next, we get an email from David Brock, political operative and commentator, inviting John Podesta to an after party. Midnight until whenever, I guess. I wonder if there was spirit cooking going on at this party. But anyways, David Brock, Democrat operative and open homosexual, has in the past had a homosexual partnership with a man named James Alefantis. Who is James Alefantis? Well, get this. He's the founder and owner of Comet Pizza Shop. Oh my god! So here's our pizza connection. And you know what else? James Alefantis has been in constant connection with the Clinton campaign. Look at these emails he was sending to John Podesta. My graphics guy sent this. Do not forward, smiley face. Look at that. And look at this email. This isn't some professional conversation between two businessmen. This is like two best buddies talking to each other about their weekend vacation plans. These two know each other. And look at the location of this address. Tony P's, Tony Podesta's, in Washington, D.C. The city where Tony Podesta's private home is, which is well known to have creepy paintings of underage children all over the place. What the hell kind of creepy ass art collection is this? This is not a joke. This is in this guy's personal art collection. Unbelievable. And let's go back to Comet Pizza. Look at all these crescent moons and star symbols. You know where you can find those? Well, in satanic artwork. So just what kind of sick shit is James Alefantis up to? Well, look at the guy's own Instagram page. Look at this shit. What the hell kind of advertisement is this? This is seriously what the guy puts up on his Instagram. Jesus Christ. And look at his name. It's awful similar to the French word j'aime les enfants, which literally translates into I like children. Oh fuck. And look at the type of bands and artists that go and perform here. A lot of them even talk about pedophilia in their lyrics. Look at this person's stand-up performance.
Welcome, friendly people, to Comet Pizza and Ping Pong. Have any of you enjoyed this special pizza here tonight? But no, she didn't. She held on to that child all the way to the end. And the fucked up thing was really, it was after it was born. I had to put that shit down. Euthanasia. It's like, is this what happens with babies? And it kept saying, it's like all this noise.
Jesus Christ. And look at the Comet Pizza's website homepage. It says that within Comet Pizza are secret doorways and rooms. And just what are you keeping in those rooms, James?
It became a major story weeks ago when an armed man decided to investigate a D.C. area pizza place for himself. This man right here, he carried a rifle into a pizza parlor and then fired it at the floor. Media is telling you the entire story is a hoax or fake news. But what does that even mean? I spent the last month investigating. So what exactly is Pizzagate? And are there any actual facts to support the story? I've got to warn you, what we're going to talk about tonight will be disturbing to some people. But this is a reality check you won't see anywhere else. Pizzagate actually comes from the WikiLeaks release of hacked emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. In all, WikiLeaks dumped around 50,000 email messages, and it was from those emails that the claims that John Podesta may be part of a child sex trafficking ring come from. Now, to be clear, not one single email in the Podesta emails discusses child sex trafficking or pedophilia. That is a fact. But there are dozens of what seem to be strangely worded emails dealing with pizza and handkerchiefs. Self-described online investigators say that those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles. So how did a DC pizza parlor get pulled into this story? Well, again, read any mainstream report and they indicate that Comet Ping Pong Pizza was somehow linked to this fake story and has no relation to anyone involved. But the truth is that's not true either. What media is ignoring is that the Comet Ping Pong Pizza place is actually referenced in the Podesta emails at least a dozen or so times, and that the owner of that place, James Alefantis, is a friend of John Podesta. He was actually named, this is kind of strange, by GQ magazine as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington. Yes, we're talking about a pizza parlor owner. Now let's talk facts here. There is no solid evidence that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is being used to run a child sex trafficking ring. But there are some very strange connections between Comet Ping Pong Pizza and a second pizza place 2 doors over, Besta Pizza, and the accusations of pedophilia. Now this is where things start to get strange when you research this story. Now to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. the pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They've removed the triangle. Also, Comet Ping Pong, owned by Alphantis, is the place where a number of performance artists perform regularly. Two of the groups that perform there, who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster, include a group called Heavy Breathing and another group called Sex Stains. Well, if you check out the YouTube videos by these bands, Heavy Breathing has songs that do joke about pedophilia, and the band Sex Stains has a video that includes, and you see it right there, that same boy lover symbol. It's nearly identical to the one that the FBI does say is a pedophile code symbol for boy love. As I said, there are some strange things there. As for the owner of the pizza place, James Alphantis, well, he was one time in a relationship with David Brock, who ran Media Matters for America. Well, since Pizzagate began to blow up online, he has made his Instagram profile, Jimmy Comet, private. But an archive search of Instagram reveals a number of strange photographs and words with strange and disturbing images associated with them. Look, to the point where we can't show you those pictures. We're not even going to describe them to you because some viewers would find it too disturbing to share on TV. Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago. He was referred to by the judge as a serial child molester. According to the Washington Post, visitors to Tony Podesta's home in Falls Church got an eyeful when they walked into a bedroom at the Podesta residence hung with multiple color pictures by Katie Grannon, a photographer known for documentary-style pictures of naked teenagers in their parents' suburban homes. And to be clear, that just begins to scratch the surface of how strange some of this stuff is. And bear in mind, we can't get into a lot of the real details of it because of the limits on broadcasting this on television. But it is some very strange stuff. Now keep in mind, again, there is no proof here that there is a child sex ring being operated out of a DC pizza parlor. Investigators have already proven there's nothing to the story, right? Well, actually, no. And that's what you need to know. For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this. Not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question. Not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place?
And finally, new rule: if Trump supporters don't want us to call them stupid, they have to stop coming up with things like Q. Oh, you heard? Yeah, it was just a few months ago in this space that I was talking about how Republicans are now the conspiracy party, and that there is literally nothing so ridiculous they won't swallow. Birth certificate, chemtrails, Jade Helm, lizard people. And now we have Q. What is Q? Well, Q is a person, but we don't know who it is. We just know it's someone with super high Q-level security clearance, so he knows all the shit that goes on in the deep state. Namely, that our government is riddled with a rogue criminal element that is interested in evil in general, but their specialty is pedophilia. And why not? Almost half of Trump voters already believed that Hillary Clinton ran a child sex ring out of a pizza parlor. But it turns out that was just the tip of the iceberg, and frankly, it would be easier to find a powerful person who isn't a pedophile. George Soros is one, and so are the Rothschilds, J.P. Morgan, John McCain, the Illuminati, Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, and every president since Reagan. But not Trump. Oh, no. Oh, no. In the Q world, he's the superhero whose whole life has been a cover so he could be in place to strike back against the pedophile rings. And then it starts to get weird.
Okay, before this week got out, I wanted to bring up this story, which I think was one of the big stories of the week, and I know People magazine agrees with me because they put her on the cover, Mary Kay Letourneau. the teacher from Seattle, who is in jail because she is in love. That's how I view it. I admit that it's unorthodox. She is 35. The boy is 14. He was younger when they started. But the big story this week...
Has he been bar mitzvahed?
Have I?
No, has he?
Oh. Okay. But she is pregnant again. That was the story this week. With the second child by this boy. So basically they're having a family and they're keeping the mother in jail because she won't conform to what society feels should be the perfect American family.
Yeah, it's perfect. My dad's 14 years older than me.
Absolutely sickening. Here
What is sickening?
A woman who's over 20 years older, and she raped this kid.
Raped?
Well.
Come on.
She forced.
She forced? How do you know? And how can you?
Well, how do you know that she didn't rape him?
How can
do
a
you
woman
know that she didn't seduce him?
How can a woman rape a man?
I think that an older woman can manipulate a young kid, and I don't think it's really healthy. I don't think it's healthy for a kid who's going to be 14 with 2 kids out in the world. I think those children will grow up fairly damaged. I think that kid's going to grow up fairly damaged.
So you're on her side?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a damn shame, Bill Maher. A damn shame. I just wanted to say that. It's just something I've been wanting to say on TV a long time. It's a damn shame.
I see why they call you the entertainer.
That's it.
But if it were a 14-year-old girl, I mean, society would have.
But it's not a 14-year-old girl.
You're not defending this woman, are you?
I am completely defending not the woman only, but the boy as well.
He's 14.
How many children really go missing each year in America? More than the news would have you think. Reliable statistics regarding missing children are hard to come by, perhaps deliberately so. But we know officially hundreds of thousands of children go missing every year, many never heard from again.
And it is rampant. I keep using that word, but it is. People don't realize. What happens is, people think or relate the number of children that go missing every year to the number of times we see a story on the news that a child is missing and everyone's trying to find them. That is the tiniest tip of the iceberg. Hundreds of thousands of children go missing in America every year. I've rung the states, because they don't have federal figures, tell you how many cars went missing federally, but not children. They said, you've got to ring the states. I rung a load of states years ago now. I said, how many children go missing every year? How many children went missing last year? And I added the figures up. What? Never seen this on the news, hundreds of thousands. Some of them are found, some of them have explanations. Not all, nothing like.
And you know, there's 100,000 children go missing a year under 16. 100,000.
100,000 you would think would make the news all the time.
You would think so, and I guess that's the problem. Just too many.
Police often write off missing children as runaways, when the exact nature of their disappearance is unclear. Even if the parents suspect otherwise, many do not have the resources to hire private investigators to locate their children. Take, for example, the case of insane clown killer John Wayne Gacy, who entertained at hospitals, orphanages, and private birthday parties. He sexually assaulted, tortured, and murdered at least 33 teenage boys and young men between 1972 and 1978, while police classified the growing numbers of missing boys as runaways.
Police were assigned to keep Gacy under 24-hour surveillance. Investigators were stunned to discover that many of the recovered items belonged to Gacy's former employees who were missing, and other young men thought to be runaways.
When most people think of kidnapping, they assume it's just some lone pervert. However, there are well-organized kidnapping rings across the country, supplying children into the underworld. They stake out locations, and sometimes even specific children in advance.
So when you see missing children on milk cartons, and you see that you go in Walmart and see that wall missing, such and such, they're not missing, they've been kidnapped. They have a crew that goes in certain parts of town, and they ask for the ages. We want them between 6 and 10. And they'll say, we want them all white. And that's what they'll get. We want 3. And we want them in those age brackets.
Chauncey Glover, who just spoke with that young victim. Chauncey?
The incident happened right here along Star Peak Drive. The little boy lives right down the road. He's 11 years old and is a 6th grader here at Hill Intermediate School. He was walking here to this school Friday morning around 8 o'clock when that white work van pulled up next to him. Now, I want to show you these pictures of the van. This is the van police are searching for right now. Now, the boy says 3 Hispanic men were inside of the van and tried to lure him in. He says they had some type of dog catching net, that they were trying to put over him.
How do they find the girls that they think they want? Now, back in the day, it was hard. They had to go to school grounds and go to these gymnasium of baseball and football games and watch the cheerleaders. That's how they did it back in the day. They sent out scouts. It's like a scout, but the guy was a perv to decide who he was going to kidnap. And they would take pictures and without their knowledge. Well, they don't have to do that no more. That was the 70s and 80s. They just go on the internet. They go through Instagram. They go, well, the best one is thus far is Instagram and Facebook. They locate her IP address, Google map it. They know where she's at. And what they'll do is send someone out there, her location, and just watch to see when she come out. And they'll get her routine down packed. They'll see she goes here, she goes there. We'll get her getting off the bus. Or do it Friday. Or they'll just pick a day. But they do their scouting on the internet.
But our private detective has been digging up a lot of information showing an overall network in the country, and that Johnny was a possible victim of that network as opposed to just a random pedophile running around Des Moines. So when I presented what we had in our case, the person that followed me in presenting was a member of the FBI. And what they had laid on the table about this size was nothing but one publication after another that had all been taken from a pedophile in a raid that the FBI conducted. And then the other interesting thing that was there on the table was a book of pictures of kids who had not yet been kidnapped.
The statement was that you could order a kid out of that book.
And the interesting thing is that from time to time when we do hear of reports of children being photographed either on a playground and or walking to and from school or just whatever, in many cases there is an abduction attempt on the same child up to 3 weeks, a month, or 2 months later.
One of the most famous kidnapping cases in America is that of Iowa paperboy Johnny Gosch, the first missing child to appear on a milk carton. At 12 years old, he was the victim of what they would later realize to be a professional kidnapping ring.
He was also involved in kidnapping.
Oh, yeah.
What knowledge do you have of that?
They'd have what they call catalog kids.
Mm-hmm.
They would basically just go out driving around looking for kids.
Uh-huh.
And they would take pictures of them and go to these wealthy, influential people and say, you know, would you be interested in this one or that one or the next one?
Mm-hmm.
And they would basically go snatch them.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what happened to Johnny Gosch.
Despite obvious evidence to the contrary, police insisted on listing Johnny as another runaway.
The cop looked at me. He said, well, has your son ever run away before? And I said, didn't you just hear me? I said, my son did not run away. Someone has taken him. I just gave you the information from all of the witnesses. The cop said, well, I'll check on this. Even after all the witnesses, after all of this information that had been given, the police chief put Johnny into the NCIC computer as a runaway.
My gosh.
It took me 4 solid months to get his classification changed in the computer.
Some of these missing children are sold into the international slave trade. For centuries, the so-called elite and ultra-powerful have preyed on the most vulnerable and precious of society. Now, more than ever, there is a global demand for children. There are auctions where such victims are sold as sex slaves to international bankers, politicians, and the very wealthy.
Give any indication of how much it cost to buy one. Because what I'm saying is that this is not going to be done cheaply, and it's not going to be done for free.
We've heard estimates of about $50,000 to $75,000 per child, depending on the features and the looks of that child, the innocence, prepubescent children. There are also, and this has been documented by a number of private investigators who've researched it, that periodically auctions take place in the United States. Different places, they move around. They don't just set up shop in one spot and publish a notice that there's going to be an auction. It's done very secretively, and they might run 10 to 20 kids at a time through an auction block. And the buyers can be from foreign countries or whatever. And then the child would never have a hope of ever getting back to his own country.
Former head of the LA FBI, Ted Gunderson, spoke about one such auction location outside of Las Vegas, where Illuminati bankers and Middle Eastern royalty come to buy American children.
What do they do with these kids that they kidnap? Paul Benassi has attended 6 auctions where they auction children, any age from 3 and 4 all the way up to 21. They put a tag around their neck. They're in their underwear. They have a number on the tag, and people down below bid on them. The kids sell for between $15,000 to $50,000. I've even heard of one kid going for $100,000. One of the locations outside of Las Vegas, about 50 miles outside of Las Vegas, and I located it. It's an airstrip. I went up with a friend of mine, and we found it. And there were airplanes there, there were campers there, and there were men who, with foreign accents. There was a police officer there, at least somebody in a uniform. These kids are auctioned off and put on the airplane, and nobody knows what's happened to them.
These trafficking rings use various control methods to keep victims enslaved. Johnny Gosh's mother, Noreen Gosh, claims the group that kidnapped her son actually branded their victims.
And one of the other things that they did to all of the victims of this particular ring, I'll call it, was brand the children.
That's right, yeah.
They used a branding iron, and they would heat it up, and the kids were branded. Someplace on their body.
Yeah.
A leg, a shoulder, a hip, it didn't matter. It would just be someplace on all of them. And the kids were told that because of that brand, no matter if they tried to change their other physical features or appearance, these people would always be able to find them.
But child trafficking rings are only the tip of the iceberg. There are even darker forces at work behind child disappearances. No doubt some children end up the victims of satanic cults. Since ancient times, children have been the preferred sacrifice of strange gods and demonic deities. The Bible warned Ammonites against making their children pass through the fires to Molech. These same arcane practices are still practiced today. According to Satanist Aleister Crowley, a male child of perfect innocence and high intellect is the most satisfactory and suitable victim for sacrifice.
12-year-old girls are big, more or less. They've been known to get down to 10, but they usually start at 12 or 13 and go to 25. And for the people who like to hitchhike, this is how they pick them all up. And of course, the police will just tell the parents the kids run away from school. They use them for sexual and for sacrifice, human sacrifice. The LA County Sheriff's Department has a very secret undercover thing. I don't even know if you can find out if this, but I talked to them. It's called the Occult Squad. They told me in '73 that they found 35 bodies of girls in Los Angeles County that year that they knew to be human sacrifice, which they listed as rape cases to people in the public. The statistics that came in so far this year are close to 125. The year's not even over. Now that's girls that have been used for human sacrifice. And if you all notice, there's quite a few rape cases that happened around Halloween that are in the news right now. And from what we can find out, the circumstances of each death fit human sacrifice. But you'll never hear it, that that's the reason.
The body of the missing 5-year-old girl was recovered yesterday.
So the kid was killed?
Yes.
Oh my God.
The child was first reported missing from her home by her mother last Tuesday morning. On Friday, Maria Andrette McNeil was charged with first-degree kidnapping, and late Saturday, her mother, Antoinette Nicole Davis, was arrested on accusations that she prostituted her daughter.
I think a lot of these kids who are brought up by these Satanists who sacrifice these children in religious rituals.
In June 2017, Dutch banker Ronald Bernard garnered worldwide attention when he did an interview blowing the whistle on the dark and secretive world in which he was involved. In it, a clearly troubled Bernard explained how at the top levels, the world financiers are satanic and engaged in bizarre rituals, including sacrifice of children.
It was the good life. But then at some point, I was invited, which is why I'm telling you all this, to participate in sacrifices. Abroad. That was the breaking point. Children.
Something is going on. Some of us see it, some of us feel it. It's time to expand your thinking. You will need to reset everything you thought you knew about the world, about the people you trust, about history, about yourself. Let me tell you a story. For a very long time, our world has been under the growing influence of a vast transgenerational criminal mafia that was able to rise up to the highest levels of power. We didn't know because they talked and acted just like you and me. We thought we could recognize true criminals by their words and actions, but were deceived by their sophisticated speech, wealth, education, beauty, and power. Through a system of threats, blackmail, and bribery, they would come to occupy the highest levels of power in government, corporations, and education. You may know them as the Deep State or Cabal. Most dangerously of all, they achieved almost total influence over the media, their primary means of controlling the good people of the world who were just trying to get on with living. They used this power to slowly convince us that we were the problem, that we were a threat to each other. They used race, gender, and religion to set us apart, and rewrote history to validate these false claims. They funded both sides of wars just to crush our potential to prosper and succeed as a peace-loving and creative force of good for the world. Now, with their firm grasp on the media, we drank in their entertainment and lies as they began their final phase, the total takedown of America. We were the brightest remaining beacon of freedom and humanity's last hope. They knew that if they could take America, the rest of the world would follow. They cut deals that led us to hand over total control of the money system to a private central bank, the Federal Reserve. This made it possible to influence Washington, D.C., and most of our presidents since then were beholden to the criminals in one way or another. Things took a really bad turn when they concentrated vast power into the hands of the many civilian intelligence agencies throughout the world. They said they were there to protect us. Instead, these agencies were catastrophically weaponized to boost drug and human trafficking cartels, assassinate political opponents, undermine the military, and change regimes of foreign governments who did not want to adopt the centralized system of money control. You might think they would choose simply to remain in the shadows running their criminal activities while we carried on with our lives. But as long as there was freedom for the people to prosper, the Cabal were always at risk of being discovered and shut down. There was no way to continue without a plan to eliminate all threats to their survival, even if it meant imposing a single world government under their jurisdiction, where no national identity, police force, or military could stop them. They called it globalism. Exploiting our emotions and our instincts of compassion, they found a way to justify dismantling cultures, borders, and national identity under the guise of social justice, creating false narratives of racism, colonialism, and capitalism to destabilize and ultimately collapse societies so they were no longer secure enough to reject this dark plan for the world. Where there was no history to distort, they would use wars to force a catastrophic mass migration of peoples across borders to destabilize and weaken cultural identity. When we didn't accept this, they called us intolerant and shamed us into silence. By 2008, America was in advanced stages of economic decline, with disastrous trade deals leading to widespread loss of jobs and a devastating financial crisis. the Cabal had now absorbed another extensive criminal empire that was aligned with a twisted and radical form of Islam. Realizing the competition could threaten their goals, they decided to cooperate and agree to mutual terms. Now a hostile foreign enemy was able to insert a subordinate into the US political system who would become the president. Saudi Prince Al-Walid bin Talal funded Obama's Harvard education and took power by proxy, picking his entire cabinet while buying vast quantities of control in our largest media companies. The Western faction of the Cabal was different. It was another kind of sick altogether. A dark and deeply sinister death cult with a strong reliance on symbolism and numerology, with levels of cruelty unimaginable to all right-thinking people. The reach and scale the secret society had achieved would have sent destabilizing shockwaves across the world were it ever to be publicly exposed. They were highly skilled at living just below the surface as they worked their way into the United States presidency. With both factions of the global mafia now in control, are you ready to hear what they had planned? Make sure you're sitting down. They installed rogue operators in government. They opened back doors to leak highly classified military intel and top-secret special access programs. They cut military funding and weakened the command of generals with irrational new rules of engagement. They worked to dismantle NASA and end our supremacy in space. They infiltrated and exposed defensive military intelligence programs that reduced our ability to detect foreign and domestic threats. They used our trusted agencies to target and weaken political opponents. They relaxed our borders and enabled passage of millions of illegals and violent criminal gangs. They moved money to fund global terrorism, resulting in groups like ISIS moving to capture vast territories throughout the world. In 2016, the Cabal Alliance had hoped to retain power. If you are not yet chilled to the bone by the picture that is forming about their intentions for us all, let me tell you what was to come next. Through international climate change scams, they would have siphoned trillions of remaining wealth, eliminate the last good guys in government, and withdraw total funding from the US military, handing over the responsibility of our defense to the United Nations. They would revise the Constitution to weaken our ability to fight back, ban the sale of firearms to eliminate our self-defense, insert their people into the Supreme Court, remove the Electoral College system to neuter our voting power, and totally eliminate alternative media to shield them from exposure. They instigated a covert deal to move large quantities of our uranium to their captured states in North Korea and Iran to build up a nuclear arsenal that would threaten the world. For this, they blamed Russia, a growing force of opposition to their ambitions of global control. By casting Putin as an enemy and blaming him for this illegal uranium deal, they had planned a devastating nuclear world war between America and Russia that would have exhausted the last two remaining pillars of freedom for the world, accelerating the horrific endgame that had become inevitable. This cabal miraculously lost power in 2016 when a brave operation, led by a US military alliance and their global partners, were able to return power legitimately over to the light. They had a plan of their very own, one that was many decades in the making. With Donald Trump selected for the role of president, the people of America were slowly awakened to the reality of the world they live in. With so much hidden and lied about in the media channels we had come to trust for our news and entertainment, this alliance of good set into motion a sophisticated strategy of dismantling the vast network of corruption that had almost completely overcome every level of government, industry, and the legal system. They knew they had to follow the laws of the land as they were originally intended, otherwise they themselves would be delegitimized, even though they were just trying to free us from the silent stranglehold of tyranny that we had come to accept as normal. The panicking deep state used any remaining power they had left to try and save themselves. Each day for 2 years was a careful and meticulously planned balancing act between public perception and the job that needed to be done. Moving too fast would shock and scare a sleeping public still living in the prison of the mind that was created for them. But after all this, it appears now that not only are we winning, but we have won. The trajectory of this great storm is now radiantly clear. Now we look forward to a new future, thanks to the brave patriots who risked everything to save our world. This time for good. There is not a person alive who has experienced what a world without this darkness could be like. A world of free energy that was kept from us to force our dependency on their fossil fuel monopolies. Abolishment of income tax that was illegally imposed to pay back interest on loans taken from the cabal banking system. Released cures for our most deadly diseases. Unleashed space technologies to open frontiers we never dreamed possible. New technologies creating millions of jobs and yielding a global human renaissance the likes of which we have never seen. Fellow Americans and citizens of the world, now it is our turn to shine. Wherever we are, we will become the plan when we choose to reject what they called globalism. We recognize the words they use to bend us to their will, and we say no more. It's time to turn off the media, follow your instincts, trust yourself, and be the plan. May God bless America and the world.
Sadly, we live in a state of fear. Every day we hear of war on the news, on the radio, and television. In the newspapers, always of war. We hear of nations hurting each other, of neighbors hurting each other, of families hurting each other, and of children killing each other. We must learn to live and love each other before it's too late. We have to stop. We have to stop the prejudice. We have to stop the hating. We have to stop living in fear of our own neighbors. I would like all of you now to take the hand of the person to the left and to the right of you. Go ahead, right now. I mean it. Don't be shy. Do it. It starts now. To the person next to you, to the left and the right. I mean it right now. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Do it. Do it. Now tell the person next to you that you care for them. Tell them that you love them. This is what makes the difference. Together, we can make a change in the world. Together, we can help to stop racism. Together, we can help to stop prejudice. We can help the world live without fear. It is our only hope. And without hope, we are lost.
Hello, you join us for a special BBC News Flash. It's being reported in America that the pop star Michael Jackson has died. The singer was rushed to hospital in Los Angeles earlier this evening. He was taken to UCLA Medical Center in the city. The LA Times and entertainment websites are reporting that he died following a cardiac arrest.
Again, as we show live pictures from the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles, again, NBC News reporting that Michael Jackson has died, 50 years old, from Gary, Indiana.
This is a Fox News alert, continuing our special coverage of the tragic news of the death of the king of pop. We're monitoring who is this, one of the brothers. Which brother? Randy Jackson. Let's listen.
This is hard. My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
By the way, we are now showing the body has left the helicopter, is going into the vehicle that will take it to the coroner's office.
Shocking news from Los Angeles tonight. NBC News has confirmed pop superstar Michael Jackson is dead at the age of 50. Every American generation has its icons in the world of entertainment. Michael Jackson has been one of the best-known stars on this planet for the last several decades. On this night, when we were preparing a remembrance of Farrah Fawcett, suddenly word arrived from Southern California that Jackson had been rushed to the hospital. There were grave reports about his condition, and now this, confirmation tonight that he has died.
Hello, Evie.
You. It was you.
Yeah.
That wasn't real.
I'm just very sensitive to their pain, and I'm very sensitive to the family, the human condition, you know, on that subject. It means a lot to me, and I want to help, do whatever I can to help that, you know. And it's, like I said before, and I'll say it a million times, I'm not afraid to say it. If there were no children on this earth, if somebody announced all kids are dead, I would jump off the balcony immediately. I'm done. I'm done.
And more peace into the world. I pray for peace all the time. And the most important thing I pray for is the protection for children and babies. That's the thing that concerns me the most. I want them to be protected and to have more children's rights in the world, or children, you know, where there's a day for children, a celebration for children. Just to give them a little more attention and love.
Caring and reading the Bible, learning about God, Jesus, love. Jesus said, bring on the children, imitate children, you know, be like little children, and to take care of others, to take care of old people. And we were raised with those values. Those are very important values, and my family and I, we were raised with those values, and they continue strong in us today. The 21st century will bring about caring and protection of our children, and above all, universal love. And we will be looking at global investments that will bring economic empowerment to people, that will ultimately benefit and enrich the lives of children. We are all touched by the atrocities committed against children. Sexual, and physical abuse, child slave labor, forced homelessness, educational neglect. We feel ashamed, angry, appalled. But there is no action. No action.
Very touched by it. If it wasn't for children, if it wasn't for children, I would throw in the towel. I would kill myself. I wouldn't care to live. They give me my inspiration. They inspire me. Everything I do, every song I write, the dance, everything that I do. They tried to use it against me, and it's just been so unfair, and I'm very upset about it, you know.
And it really happened, didn't it?
Yes.
And that's what this is all about. You're getting back at them for what they did to you.
What was done to me created me. It's a basic principle of the universe that every action will create an equal and opposing reaction.
Is that how you see it? Like an equation?
What was done to me was monstrous.
And they created a monster.
Monster alive in the village. The major ingredient of any recipe for fear is an unknown. And this person will be assumed to be mad. He knows every thought, he can feel every emotion. Oh yes, I did forget something, didn't I? I forgot to introduce you to the monster.
Hearing me, 'cause you know I'm a beast. Watching you when you sleep. When you're in bed, I'm underneath. You're trapped in halls, and my face is the walls. I'm the floor when you fall, and when you scream, it's 'cause of me. I'm the living dead, the dark thoughts in your head. I heard just what you said. That's why you doesn't see it wrecking me.
Who was he?
He was Edmond Dantes. And he was my father. And my mother. My brother. My friend. He was you. And me. He was all of us.